Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. In 2014, Nigeria became the largest economy in Africa. 10 years later, under administration of the All Progressive Congress, Nigeria's economy has been literally destroyed to the level that Nigeria today is ranked the 4th largest economy in Africa, and it is still getting worse. That is what we're going to talk about in this video. How did we move from the largest economy in Africa to the 4th economy, and the IMF is saying it could get worse? And don't forget, it was under this 10 years period, most of it under the APC, that Nigeria became the poverty capital of the world and a killing field as a result of insecurity. So let's go and welcome. Nigeria in 2014 became the largest economy in Africa and the 26th largest in the world, following the rebasing of its gross domestic product from 1990 to 2010. Constant prices with a GDP of 510 billion. With a GDP of 510 billion. This was, let us look at how it was reported around the world, particularly in America. This was how it was reported by The Atlantic, which I will pin the newspaper on this screen. I'm sure you're looking at it right now. The Atlantic, how it reported Nigeria's emergence as the largest economy in Africa. This is how it was reported by The Atlantic, an American newspaper, in an article titled "How Nigeria became Africa's largest economy overnight." Let me repeat that headline again by The Atlantic. How Nigeria became Africa's largest economy overnight. Written by Uri Friedman and published on April 7, 2024. And Uri wrote, he said, something strange happened in Nigeria on Sunday. The economy nearly doubled, raking up hundreds of billions of dollars, ballooning to the size of the Polish and Belgian economies, and breezing by the South African economy to become Africa's largest economy. As days go, it was a good one. It was in fact a miracle born of statistics. It had been 24 years since Nigerian authorities last updated their approach to calculating gross domestic product, GDP. A process known as rebasing that wealthy countries typically carry out every 5 years. When the Nigerian government finally did it this week, the country's GDP, the market value of all finished goods and services produced in the country, soared to $510 billion. $510 billion was the worth of the GDP of Nigeria in 2014. Remember that a year later, in 2015, the APC, the All Progressive Congress, took over the mantle of the leadership of this country. And they have been running the country since then. From Muhammad Buhari to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And look at what the mess they have made of the economy, the mess they have made of the status of Nigeria as the largest economy in Africa, and the mess they have made on the standard of living of Nigerians, that today Nigeria is the poverty capital of the world. Don't take my word for it. Let us look at the IMF from their assessment of Nigeria and why Nigeria is today the fourth largest economy in Africa, and it could get worse than that. Now, Nigeria's economy, which ranked as the largest in Africa in 2014 and had been largest in Africa even up to 2022, is set to slip to fourth place this year after a series of currency devaluations. International Monetary Fund forecasts show. The IMF, the International Monetary Fund's World Economic Outlook, as reported by Bloomberg, estimated the country's gross domestic product as 552 billion based on current prices this year. Remember, in 2014, the GDP of Nigeria was $510 billion. Today, under the APC administration, it is $253 billion. Now, this $253 billion is behind North African powerhouses, Algeria, at $267 billion, Egypt at $348 billion, and South Africa at $373 billion GDP. Now, the report added that South Africa remains the continent's largest economy. So the projection by IMF is that South Africa will remain the largest economy in the continent until Egypt reclaims the mantle in 2027. Now, the IMF is projecting that by 2027, Egypt will overtake South Africa. He didn't mention that Nigeria will overtake South Africa by 2027, because apparently, despite all the noises they are making about the reforms, despite following the IMF guideline in removing fuel subsidy, in flotation of the Naira, which has failed, and they have now reverted to guiding the Naira, and they are half-hearted removal of fuel subsidy, because IMF is insisting that Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not wholly remove the fuel subsidy. Say he is still paying fuel subsidy. El-Rufai, former governor of Kaduna State, also confirmed recently that Tinubu had paid over 8 trillion naira fuel subsidy since he took over, saying that if not for that, the price of fuel would have gotten to over 1,000 naira per liter. Okay, so despite everything Tinubu had done to show that he has done in terms of what they call reform. Remember that Bola Ahmed Tinubu even said that he deserved to be given Guinness Book of World Record Award for the number of reforms he was able to put in place in a very short time. But apparently, the IMF is seeing beyond what they are looking at, because they can bamboozle Nigerians and deceive Nigerians, but the IMF know where to catch them, and the IMF is telling them the truth, that one, you have not even totally devalued, you have not totally removed fuel subsidy. Two, your flotation of the Naira, they have found out you have abandoned it midway. They are telling you don't subsidize tariff, electricity supply, remove tariff on electricity fully and all that, and you're obeying. Yet, despite every other thing you are doing, or the APC administration is doing, even by 2027, there is no hope of Nigeria regaining its position as the largest economy in Africa, according to the IMF. Now, like I said, the report added that South Africa remains the continent's largest economy until Egypt reclaims the mantle in 2027. Nigeria, however, is expected to remain in the fourth place for years to come. Nigeria is to remain in fourth place for years to come. The data released by IMF shows. It shows that IMF has written Nigeria off of reclaiming that number one position again. Do you blame them? They know that Nigerian economy is being mismanaged, but they are being diplomatic about it. So in these their reports, they are basically saying it the way it is. There's no hope of Nigeria reclaiming its position as the largest economy in Africa. Recently, when the President Tinubu wrote an op-ed in Newsweek, he was still boasting that Nigeria is the fourth economy in Africa, largest economy in Africa, not knowing that IMF has cross-checked their data and found out that Nigeria is number 4, and there's no chance of Nigeria even reclaiming that number 1 in the foreseeable future. That's how bad the economy of Nigeria has been mismanaged in the last 10 years, and that the APC have been in charge of the country. Now, the report also showed that Nigeria has been battling economic challenges since President Tinubu announced significant policy reforms, including the end of the subsidy regime and the devaluation of the naira. Now, despite a recent rebound, the currency is still 50% weaker than the dollar than it was before taking office, after 2 currency devaluations. In other words, despite all the things that Bola Tinubu have done, and despite all the people saying that they should clap for Bola Tinubu because the currency has, Nigerian currency, after falling to 2,000 naira to the dollar, has rebounded to about 1,200 to the dollar. 1,200 naira to the dollar that the government should be clapped for. The IMF, who should know better, and who are the people that they listen to? The government listening to IMF. Whatever IMF says, they found it very enticing. So if the IMF had praised them now, you would have seen it in many newspapers in Nigeria. But this is the fact coming from IMF and published by the Bloomberg, an American newspaper. They have no reason to be biased against the APC or against any administration for that matter. They are dealing with facts and figures. So my friend, that is how the APC has destroyed the Nigerian economy from the largest economy in 2014 to the 4th largest in Africa. And it could get worse from the projection of IMF. And Nigeria is today the poverty capital of the world. Nigeria is today a killing field. No place in Nigeria is secured. None. No place. Not in school, not in the highways, not in the railways. Nigeria is an example of a failing state, as pointed out by the Financial Times of London in a recent editorial. Thank you for watching this video, and if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.